For 75 years now, Youth Homes of Mid-America has offered programs of growth for young people who suffer with behavioral, emotional, or educational difficulties find a home here. A landmark in the small community of Johnston, Iowa, Youth Homes is a place of refuge and hope for young people seeking to build better lives.
Some community leaders, led by Hobart Ross, decided that there needed to be a place that kids could go live in. They established Youth Homes of Mid-America, and it was kind of back then considered an orphanage, kind of like Boys Town, where wayward kids could go and have a place to live. Youth Homes serves a pretty unique type of kid, a kid that has some special needs. Without Youth Homes, I really believe that they would be in a worse place, incarcerated or not living well in the community. And I can say that because I've seen the evidence of it.
Youth Homes has a great history. It's been a bedrock for these kids around central Iowa, now the whole state of Iowa. These kids just most of the time don't have a very good family that they grow up in, and they get into trouble. And there's a need for places like this to house these kids while they're getting their feet back on the ground.
Several years ago, when the state set or closed down the only state facility for girls, created a kind of a tidal wave of what are we going to do with girls? How are we going to serve girls? Our independent living programs have always served girls living in the community, supporting them, but it wasn't until recently that we actually started serving girls in a residential type setting.
Youth Homes' goal is to enact positive change in a young person's life, not only to see them persevere, but also to overcome and move forward into a positive future. Fully independent not only in where they live, but in the decisions they make, like Mo Wright, a former Youth Homes kid who is now forging his own path.
Well, I kind of had my fair share of I guess rebellionism, but then, a main portion was my mom. She was sick and terminal. And basically she couldn't, really take care of me anymore. And the courts didn't really deem that, it was the best spot for me at the time. And so, they ended up, removing me. And from there, kind of had to grow up a little bit more. I got a place now, I go to school, I work, I take pole fitness classes, go to yoga. Really anything to just be in the zen, because I'm tired of stress, really. When I really think about it and everything, just learning even off from those other kids and everything and whatever they went through, it sucks, no one wants to go through stuff like that. No one wants to go through stress, but it's just there, and depending on us, we just react to it differently. And, I really thank Youth Homes for some of the skills that, I've learned from them, just, because I could have reacted to whole different situations, but I'm very content at this point.
Young people often find themselves at youth homes without their choosing, either through decisions they've made or situations that were out of their control. No matter the circumstance, Youth Homes seeks to better the lives of the young people here by recognizing their unique situations, working to see them transform just as John Benham did and rebuild relationships once lost.
The biggest reason I was probably sent to Youth Homes was just being a rebellious teenager. Honestly, I had a loving family and parents that loved me more than anything in the world, but I was just that kid that wanted to sneak out at night or be the cool kid who got in a fight in school. And now I look back and I realize my parents only wanted the best for me. And that's something I should take advantage of when I have the chance before I start getting into before I got into Youth Homes and before I got into legal trouble.
I'm sitting in the office one day and I get a call from a member of the Johnston community. And he said, "Mike, I need to come talk to you." I'm thinking, oh, great. So this gentleman came out and he sat right here in my office and said, "Hey, I want to tell you something that happened at school. My daughter was in a fight today. Turned out there's a whole group of kids standing around kind of cheering it on, egging it on. Out of this group steps a young man and says, knock it off," physically separates the two girls, tells them this isn't okay, stop fighting. It happened to be John Benham. John, who had come from I'll beat you up in school, was now the peacemaker.
The experiences and impact that can be given to a young person here often leads them to a path of helping others. Even something as simple as Brian Lopez Luna preparing a favorite birthday dish.
Brian has a real knack for cooking. He's creative, and he's kind of a perfectionist. And I've seen him become a little bit more sure of himself, where he was a little shy in the beginning. Now he'll make suggestions for things. I don't know, he's just coming into his own kind of, which is, what you hope for all of them.
When it comes to birthday meals, I like to decorate the cakes and make it out of the ordinary for them, so they don't feel alone in their birthday. I like to let them know that, hey, we care about you, not just the staff, but also us, the cooks. And we like to make you feel included. I choose to come back because I appreciate what Youth Homes has done for me, because they've given me a second chance and they've helped me with a lot of my personal problems. I'm taking my experiences and I am trying to make it a little better so the youth here have a good experience with the food, because I know a lot of group homes don't have good food.
A crucial aspect of the growth and transformation that happens at youth homes is for a kid to develop or rebuild a faith and trust, not just with others, but within themselves.
What youth homes is to me, or what it brought to me, was a place not just to survive. I got to finally feel the comforts of the ability of thriving, feeling comfortable in my own skin, and having the ability to just be nourished in developing who I always knew I was, but never felt comfortable or confident enough to be me. I am an assistant Polk County attorney here in Des Moines, Iowa. It was part of my passion and a dream of mine to give back to a community that gave me so much. Being in independent living youth homes allowed me to feel that confidence in being able to live on my own, survive on my own, cook for myself, pay my bills. It really prepared me for the real world, and without that, I don't think that I ever would be where I am today. I was able to trust that someone saw something in me, so when I doubted myself, I went to that, and I remembered someone believes in me that's smarter than me, that's bigger than me, and that's more grown up than me. And if they have that belief and that faith and trust in me, then I need to start believing that in myself.
When you get involved with youth, you have to see it through. You cannot go part way, said Hobart Ross, the founder of Youth Homes, about caring for young people in difficult circumstances. And that is the mindset that carries through Youth Homes staff and supporters in everything they do.
We get paid to have kids here, and that payment covers meals, 3 hots and a cot. It's the extras that really make the difference here.
It's not just about the therapy or learning new skills, but it's little things that help them feel normal in a situation that's not necessarily normal for most kids.
Hopefully the little treats I make for them on the holidays just brings that little more, reinforces that element of being a home for them.
Well, Mark came home one day and he had the opportunity to tour and mentioned that they had some just needs, but basic necessities, and said, I think we should make some startup baskets.
A lot of these kids haven't necessarily slept in a bed that other kids hadn't slept in, so they didn't, they're not used to having their own sheets or maybe their own bath towel. To not be able to have a lot of interaction with these kids, it's very meaningful to Lori and I to be able to do something for these kids that will help them.
It's, a set of sheets and a towel, laundry detergent, and just toiletries. So things that we take for granted.
We always put a little tag on it that said, this quilt has, when you're feeling lonely, wrap up in this quilt because it's been made by love for you. And that's kind of what I feel. I hope that they remember that quilt was made by somebody who cared about them, even though we never met them.
In terms of our staff, it's like a question that doesn't need to be answered. They're ridiculously good at what they do. They put up with a lot. It's hard work, but they keep doing it because they care about kids and families, and the whole core values thing is important to them.
The generosity in this community is incredible. If it weren't for the community making up the difference, we couldn't be here for 75 years, and it constantly amazes me.
The bell ringing is tradition here, and it's gone on for as long as I know. It absolutely represents kids crossing a threshold, and really the coolest part for me, and I think for all of our staff, and really for the kids, is when a kid stands up and says, hey, here are my goals, here's what I've accomplished while I've been here, here's what I want to do now that I'm leaving. But more importantly, hey, by the way, to everybody else who's still here, your staff actually care about you. And I can't remember a single bell ceremony where a kid didn't say that. And so for a kid to get there, and especially our kids who don't necessarily trust adults and haven't always had adults take good care of them, that's an amazing kind of transition, especially new kids that are at the ceremony who are going, yeah, right, whatever. But that's a cool part.
I would think that once youth home, always youth home child, because there's just such a kindred spirit, and there's a love and a support that you get from that organization if you take advantage of it, that just doesn't go away.
Once you're here with us, you're a part of our family. 10 years down the road, you're welcome to come back here, and you're always welcome here. You're always one of us. And do you feel that once a youth home kid, always a youth home kid, and you got support and you got some help here?
I do. I mean, I feel like it's the same as when you graduate high school. You can always go back and talk to your old teachers and stuff like that, get help for job resumes and all that good stuff. So yeah, I feel like if I ever needed help or someone to talk to, I could drive to campus and find someone to talk to.
Man, that means that youth homes is always going to be there for you. It's kind of like that tight-knit pack, they're always going to be there for you. If you need them, they're going to help you out. And they're going to help you out in many different ways that most of the time you probably wouldn't suspect. Currently, I'm going to school for massage, and, I wasn't expecting these guys to help me out with, particular scholarships or anything like that. But, them guys have really came through, and I was shocked, and I'm still shocked by it all. So it's definitely, youth homes is the truth for that.
The kids have taught me that since they come from these unstable families most of the time, that all they need is a little attention, a little loving, a stable place to be for a while, and I think they can make it. I think they can make a big impact on them, and they're not lost causes. I think a lot of these kids just need a little bit of help.
After 75 years, the commitment and extraordinary dedication to young people is stronger than ever. Youth Homes is able to change and adjust with the times while still maintaining core values that put young people first.